Personal log entry number 5057. It's 17:56 hours of March the 20th of 2024. So I wanted to go ahead and there goes the Yeti mic plug. I want to go ahead and figure out, one moment. I want to figure out what the last move or the ending moves are for finishing up this consciousness work. I'm trying to live in the awakened state the same way that I live in the dream state. And during the last two entries, I noticed how, I could see how life is what I have it be here. What I started to notice was how the fundamentals of consciousness trace to here. And it helped me to get a feel for how to work here. I am exactly what everybody around me has me be. And they are what I have them be. And in that way, indirectly, I am what I have myself be. And I could see my being in the people around me. And I could see how I would characterize life for my own self, how I would define my own life by doing this, when I would believe in things to be a certain way, when I would believe in life to be a certain way, take action reflective of that. If I want to be beyond that, I would have to expand my consciousness out of that. Just wanting to be beyond that is not enough, because I would not be, because the people exist within the confines of my characterization of life. And the same characterization of life that I use is the very same characterization of life that they use. And so I would not be able to express my own self outside of that characterization until I recharacterize life. Because only then would I be picking a matching version of people that characterize life the same way that I want to. So I have to do more than just want a specific version of my life. I have to integrate into that. And I've started to see how I have life be what it is just by living around the house, just by experiencing with my mom and seeing how things here are as I have them be. And I found lots of subroutines in my consciousness that are not in alignment with what I want. These subroutines are rooted in beliefs in life being something that's not what I want it to be. So I'm having to rework the root beliefs completely in order to change how I have life be. I have to redo how I'm choosing in subconscious and unconscious ways. So it's an overhaul of consciousness. So that way I'm effectively choosing the life that I want to be. If you want a utopia, you have to be utopian yourself. That's reflective of your belief in the utopia. Because life is what you have it be. It's what you believe in it to be. If you want life to be something, you have to believe in it to be that. Otherwise it won't be able to express itself as that. This is how God works. If you want to see him in different places, he only presents himself in the places you believe in him to be. And That's because of, again, characterization of life. Life is a reflection, life is an expression, life is your being. And things happen within the confines of your characterization of life. So if that includes God in different places, able to do different things, he will be able to express itself as that because he's you. It's your consciousness. You're him. We are one. He's the spark of life in all things. In that way, he's our spark, and this is what consciousness actually is. It's experience, it's living, it's life, it's being. It's action itself, if you will, in the most fundamental sense. Shifting into different experiences, choosing to live different things. We are God. God's body of consciousness is all things. We are literally experiencing and living that at our leisure. This can be understood when you really appreciate the significance of the dream state. And then it becomes more than just a saying when you realize all the perspectives that you can take, and you trace that to your imagination, and you see just how limitless you really are in what you can experience, in what you can live. And everyone and everything is a part of that. And there's also a perspective that can be taken, and that is taken, even though you're not directly looking through those eyes in the moment. You can, literally an instant later, if you like. You can do so. You can do whatever you want. God's privilege. God's prerogative. So, this is what Jesus ultimately wanted people to see. I don't even know if he himself took it this far, though. I know he wanted to. But, we all can. We all can finish the work that Jesus started. We are of the same essence. God's the essence in all things. He exists in all our hearts. What does that mean? It means that's what we truly are. When you distill everything down to its essence, God is what you get. You get source, you get spark of life. That's it. You get experience itself, you get being itself. So I can see this now from an experiential perspective, but only loosely. But I see it enough. I've lived enough to see life as something that's not physical in nature. I've done enough to see life as something that's not physical or bound by any kind of rules of any kind. Literally. No physics, no restrictions of character, nothing. It's completely free. And when you trace that to the different elements of being and the exactitudes of the shifts in the moment, this idea becomes obvious. It's subtle, though. But if you know what to look for, it's obvious. It becomes obvious when you see it. Even if it's in nuance. And that is how I brought this to an endgame for myself. As far as integrating into this kind of dreamy existence, this kind of multidimensional existence that I've talked about. What do I mean when I say I've brought this to an endgame? I mean, this is something I've been working on for a long time, and now we're in the last stages of doing this. How do we finish it? Um, the way that I know to finish it is to acclimate, and this is just me guessing, I'm figuring this out right now. I didn't know this before starting this entry. I still don't know it. My best guess right now, it feels like something that's easy to get and not difficult to see. It would be to run with what I've learned, to continue to trace my life, trace my happenings, trace my expressions to my being, and to keep shifting, to keep feeling myself in my existence, and keep letting go of subconscious being that isn't my heart's desired being. Keep opening up to new possibilities that will allow me to have the version of myself that's more easily able to see this. So we build our consciousness into it that way. And at the same time, given what we have learned, we, as we said, keep tracing our life to our being to our life. We can do it both ways. And where appropriate, shift that being. What do I mean by where appropriate? There are some ways in which we're living life exactly the way we want to. Other ways we're living life in a way that isn't really what we want to live life as. We shift the ones that are not where we want them. We live the life that we ultimately want to live in all of its facets and all of its components. And we don't change what's already at that point. And we let life speak for itself as this keeps going on. We just keep practicing with this. And this has opened a door for me that I've wanted to open for a very long time. And that's learning to truly love everybody just the way they are. Why does this job open up that door? Well, that's because with all experience being available, I have windows into all kinds of experience where I can go experience some of the life that is visible to me, given my perception and definition of life. Once that definition is completely open, God's definition of life is completely open. And so in that way, he is able to go live as and perceive all things. And all experience is available to him, and he loves it so much that he lives that experience. What I'm starting to do is see exactly that myself, how this is my being. In that way, it's similar to a dream. And I can live, I can experience whatever I want. And experiencing anybody in any state of being is experiencing more of myself and seeing more of creation, seeing more of consciousness, more of the experience that can be had. And this causes me to love it more. It's not something that hinders me or is anything separate from me at all. It's simply my own being in that moment. And is simply what I'm living and what I'm experiencing of all of the infinity that I can experience in any moment. So I'm literally exploring life that being the infiniteness of creation itself, the infiniteness of consciousness itself, at my leisure. And the more I do that, the more I fall in love with it. And the more I learn to appreciate everything there is to appreciate, everything there is to love, every kind of being that there is. And I'm infinitely abundant enough, and true abundance is not a thing of money, it's a thing of consciousness. I'm infinitely abundant enough to have all of experience at my fingertips always. That causes it to not matter what anybody does. A lot of times, people's love or people's frustration or hatred of certain people or certain things comes from the idea of being held back from what they want to do in the moment. But you can quickly let go of that when you see your own being in life. This is a difficult thing for some people to do. In a fundamental sense, it's very easy. But it can be made difficult when you're dealing with these different cycles. Remember, you are what everybody and everything has you be, just as everything and everybody is as you have them be. So indirectly, you're unknowingly having yourself be something you don't want to be, with the beliefs that you carry and the choices that you're unconsciously making. When this happens, it can seem like things externally are forcing you somewhere you don't want to be. The trick is to connect the dots and to realize what's going on, to recognize what's going on. But for as long as you don't recognize that, it could seem like things are just out of control and you're at their mercy. And so that's why it can seem difficult, when in actuality it isn't. It's one of those really tricky things that can really throw a lot of people for a loop. And do not be ashamed or worry or anything like that. It's more of experience of consciousness. You're not doing anything wrong. The only individual who really defines what you do as right or wrong is yourself. And in God's eye, nothing is right or wrong. All things exist, and He loves all things exactly as they are. So, there's that. So we're going to keep going, and we're going to keep working on this consciousness until we integrate into the style of existence that we're shooting for, and then we'll go from there. This concludes this entry.